In celebration for International Women in Engineering Day, and with the direction of this year's theme, Engineering Heroes, we would like to honor women's achievements in gendered professions that have been traditionally engineered to become male-dominated. And we are pleased to give a platform to those women, not just to break that outdated stereotype, but also to showcase their contributions and their accomplishments. I would also like to recognize the students and graduates of the college who have exemplified what we mean by well-rounded three-dimensional humans, those who came from engineering backgrounds and went for postgraduate degrees in the fields of translation, digital humanities, and women's studies, and have become researchers and advocates, using their knowledge and skills to advance women's status and contribute to the increasing number of women in fields such as engineering, and also address the challenges and find solutions and enact positive change. Whether it is under the call of gender equality or diversity and inclusion, it doesn't matter really. What matters is that each woman engineer is opening up a door for another woman to enter what was perceived as an unfriendly space for women. Welcome again, and just like you, I'm very, very excited and looking forward to hearing from all of the amazing women we have today, including the moderator, whom I'd love to introduce to you, Dr. Hanan. And 1 second, because I need to open her bio. Dr. Hanan Farahat, with over 25 years of oil and gas industry experience. Dr. Hanan Farahat is one of the leading experts in corrosion and material engineering in the region. She is the founder and director of the Corrosion Center for Corrosion Center. Dr. Farahat's resume also includes oil and gas technical service management, as well as senior inspection and lead corrosion engineering positions. Dr. Farahat is an advocate for women's rights and gender equality. She's the founder and chairperson of the Qatar Association of Women Engineers and the chairperson of Qatar's Association for Corrosion and Material Engineering. Dr. Hanan, it's all yours.
Thank you very much, Dr. Amal, for helping us organizing this event, and thank you for the College of Humanities and Social Sciences for all their support to the Qatar Association of Women Engineers. We've been really very happy with all the support, and we feel like it's home for us. And thank you, Dr. Amal, mainly for your support to our cause. You've been always giving us a lot of directions, and you were the first person that was there when we had our first meeting. So we appreciate that. Very delighted to see you all here, and I want to congratulate you all for the International Day for Women Engineers. This is an important event for all women engineers in Qatar and internationally. We like to show the world and make the world aware of what women engineers are doing. And even though we had the issues of COVID, still women engineers were able to work at the office and from home, and they were able to support their families, they were able to support their kids, their sick parents and their sick relatives, and they were able to take care of that as well as doing their duties and contribute to the country's economy and to the society. And so today we have 4 great distinguished women engineers that we're very proud to have them with us. And we'll start with Dr. Al-Jazi Qais. Dr. Al-Jazi is a Qatari national. She's very passionate about education and youth development. She's currently the Associate Vice President of Student Affairs at the College of the North Atlantic, Qatar. Dr. Al-Jazi previously held several senior positions at Qatar University. She's an engineer by practice. She's a computer engineer. She holds a bachelor degree in computer engineering, as well as MBA and PhD in engineering management, all from Qatar University. She also attained an executive master's degree in leadership, innovation, and policy from the USA Georgetown University. Dr. Al-Jazi has been in several positions where she was involved in some of the most prominent projects in Qatar. One of them is the transformation project of the College of the North Atlantic, Qatar. She also was involved in the business performance and foundation of excellence at Qatar Tourism Authority. She is very passionate about education, leadership, advancement of engineering, and she has played several roles, and she has held several voluntary positions and important positions in several organizations where she had an impact. Please join me to welcome Dr. Al-Jazi. Dr. Al-Jazi, ahlan wa sahlan. The second guest that we have is Ms. Sara Wadi Al-Amri. Sara is currently a project manager. She is the Northfield Production Sustainment Project Joint Venture Project Manager for ExxonMobil Qatar projects. She's responsible for leading all shareholder-related activities and discussions on the project. And it's a Qatar joint venture project, spans across the offshore North Field, which we know is the biggest field in Qatar for natural gas. And this project involved over 10 years of investment. Sarah has a bachelor and master's in engineering and chemical engineering from Imperial College London. She started her career in 2002 as a project engineer, and she moved on through this career to different cities, different countries, including the United States, Russia, and then finally she's here in Qatar. She has over 15 years of project management, and she has over a lot of achievements in big expansion projects that she executed. She's a mother of a young girl. Her name is Jasmine, and she and her family arrived to Qatar in mid-2019. So welcome to the engineering community in Qatar, Sarah. And she said that her and her family enjoy the opportunity to explore the beautiful beaches in Qatar, the wildlife and museums. And also she loved the warm and welcoming culture in Qatar, and looking forward to stay here longer. We hope to have more engagement with Sarah. Welcome to Qatar, Sarah, and welcome to our webinar. The third speaker is Dabia Al-Muhannadi. Dabia is an assistant professor of chemical engineering at Texas A&M University in Qatar. She's the first Qatari female faculty in engineering at Texas A&M University. Dabia was previously a student, as an undergraduate student at Texas A&M University, so it's nice to see this transition. Her research area focuses on process system engineering, where her work focuses on process integration, techno-economic modeling and optimization, sustainable design and operation and processes, carbon dioxide mitigation, and natural resource management. She is a winner of several awards. So she received Her Highness and His Highness, the Emir of Qatar Education Excellence Award in 2019. She's also the winner of Oryx GTL Qatar Postgraduate PhD Student Award for Future Research Leaders in Qatar in 2016 and in 2018. So two times she received the Oryx GTL Award. And she also received the award for the best poster in 2015 for modeling and optimization of energy saving and pollution reduction. She's a young professor, and she has been selected by students for several times as one of the best professors. So we welcome Dabia with us today, and we'd like to hear from her about her experience in the academic program. And then last but not least, we have with us Engineer Madi Paramita Diyo. I hope I pronounce your name right, Madi. She is a senior corrosion engineer at North Oil Company, Qatar. And this is mainly corrosion engineering, and senior positions are mainly held by men. So it's nice to see women holding these senior positions. She has 15 years of experience in oil and gas industry, with previous working experience as a corrosion engineer for oil and gas production facilities in Total EMB in Indonesia. As a corrosion engineer in Total, she worked also in Paris, in Total headquarters in Paris, France, and she was providing technical support for major oil and gas projects development in West Africa, Europe, South America, and providing corrosion technical assistance to Total E&P operating affiliates in the Middle East, Europe, and West Africa. Maddie is new to Qatar. She joined Qatar after the last year after the pandemic. And so she did not get a chance to see much of Qatar because of the pandemic, but we're hoping that she will get an opportunity, her and her family, to explore Qatar. And she's a very active member in our association. Welcome to this meeting, welcome to this webinar, and welcome to all of you. And we're delighted to have you today with us. We will start with Dr. Al-Jazi, and just want to know a little bit about your experience and why did you choose engineering as a profession? And we want to tell us, like, what do you like about your job? So 2 questions, Dr. Al-Jazi. Why did you choose engineering as a profession? And then I know that you shifted from engineering to taking care of students and dealing with students. So what do you like about this job, and what caused this shift in the job?
عليكم جميعا. First of all, I would like to thank you, Dr. Hanan and Dr. Amal, for organizing this event, and I'm so honored to join with my colleagues here this webinar. Yes, I studied engineering because I graduated from high school, Al Bayan High School, with a very high grade, and we had lots of options, but engineering was my first option. At that time, Qatar University started College of Engineering for female, so I joined the first batch of engineers here in Doha, and for me that was so catchy to start. And I came from a background that really rich in mathematics and science. I loved science. I still love mathematics. So I thought of engineering as my first option. But I'm also an educator. As you have mentioned, I shifted, I really worked in education, and I'm proud of saying that I am an educator. And in university and higher education, we create power. It's not about transcripts that we issue by the end of the 4 or 2 years of education, but it's about a mind that we develop, a personality that we create, a career line that we establish. It's about making a difference in someone's life and in youth in general. And between the orientation day, once a student joins the university, and the graduation day, lots of stories are built. And you can see in every term how students are being, how they are different day after day. And I know that Dr. Hanan, you've seen lots of stories here at CNAQ or at Qatar Foundation, and this is what keeps us really alive. And my experience is all built around student affairs in higher education, and I think I got the soul of this career. Whenever it's about students and youth in general, you'll find me there, and you'll find me in the middle of the work, and you'll find me very much enjoying really what I'm doing.
Thank you, Dr. Al-Jazi. I have to mention that Dr. Al-Jazi was a very distinguished student at the university, at Qatar University, and she received a lot of awards and scholarships. And one thing I noticed when I met Dr. Al-Jazi is that she's a people person. She loves to be around people. She kind of have this sense and connection. And I think probably this is why, this career, you just did very well in this career, and you developed and you went to a higher positions, which is we're proud to see. Well, I'll turn to Sarah. And Sarah, if you don't mind, can you please turn on your camera? And I want to remind the audience is that if you have any questions, please write down your questions in the Q&A section, and we will have a Q&A session at the end of this presentation. So, sorry, at the end of this webinar, I'm used to presentations, I guess. So Sarah, we'd like to hear from you. We want to know, what do you like about your job? What makes you, doing engineering projects, engineering for all these 15 years? What did you like about it?
Similarly, I'd like to also thank Dr. Hanan and Dr. Amal, the Qatar Association of Women Engineers and College Humanities and Social Sciences, Hamad bin Khalifa University, for giving me this chance to talk. It's a great honor, so thank you. I'm not sure I like much about my job, but love, now that's different. I love a lot about my job. It's really given me the opportunity to travel to many different countries. Dr. Hanan, as you mentioned, I got 6 years in the Far East, in Sakhalin Island, a tiny little island north of Japan. I've worked in North America. I come from Europe, so Europe, and now the Middle East. I mean, you can't say many jobs will give you that opportunity, and engineering really, really does. I love working with diverse people. I'll just share with you some photos. Trying to find some photos was fun, actually, because it brought back some amazing memories of all the great stuff that I've had a chance to do in my career. And really, this job has firstly taught me how to wear a hard hat. This is like one of the first photos of me when I first started working. And you can see here, I had no idea what I was doing. And, getting the opportunity to kind of like go offshore, meet some amazing people. A lot of these people have become almost like family that I've met over my career. So I've grown my family. It's just amazing when you become an engineer and you get these opportunities that I never thought I'd go to a place that's at minus 40 degrees. I mean, you can't see it here, but this is me right here. I think I've got about 6-7 layers of thermal material on me to keep me warm. And, such an amazing group of people, and the stuff they can achieve, is just mind-boggling. There is a saying in my old job, we made the impossible possible. And really, that's how I see engineering. You make what people believe, 10, 20 years ago would have said that is impossible. When you talk about just what we have around us, the iPhones, the phones we've got, electricity, cars, engineers make the impossible possible. I'm also very, very proud to work for ExxonMobil. And it's about working for a company that really supports science, technology, engineering, and math, STEM education. They focus a lot on inspiring students to pursue STEM careers, including initiatives designed to increase participation of young girls and women in STEM. And personally, I get an opportunity, actually even very early on in my career, to go into schools where there's 5, 10-year-olds and talk to them about my career, what I've done so far. And it's so great afterwards for them to come to me, I just want to chit chat and talk about their aspirations. And, working for a company that not only gives you the opportunity to achieve your work goals, but also engage with the outside world and the community and really develop people is amazing. And I've only been in Qatar for 2 years, but, the ExxonMobil has partnered with a lot of association and organizations to really increase participation of young girls in STEM careers, which is kind of in line with the Qatar National 2030. And I'm just so excited to be part of that journey. And I look forward to meeting more great women, similar to the other panelists that are here today. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to, point in something that you are also, you say you are also supervise or engage in the Texas A&M students graduation projects.
Yeah.
And that's so you're one of the supervisors or external supervisors in one of these, in some of these projects. Is that right?
Yes. So again, a great, I haven't done any calculations in quite a few years. When you become a manager, it's more about inspiring people and getting your team to deliver. But it's great every now and then to get out of the work environment and interview these future engineers and just see the way their mind thinks. So yes, it's great to see the Qatar, Texas A&M, young engineers come through and have that ability to interview them and talk to them about their projects and what they're working on. Yes.
Yeah, and one another thing I want to mention is that you shifted career for a while, which I forgot to mention. You did some work in research, and so you went from project management to research. Can you tell us a little bit about that shift?
Yes. So when I first started with ExxonMobil, I didn't really apply what I learned at university. I was expecting when I first joined that I'd be sitting behind a desk doing calculations, but they were like, no, we want you out there building new stuff. So that was projects. And then, I turned to my boss one day and I'm like, look, I've had this great, amazing, I really, really enjoyed, but, I miss the engineering, real technical stuff. And he's like, okay, well, here you go. Here's an opportunity. Let's try research. And it is amazing the amount of stuff that engineers are looking forward to in the future. And I was specifically working on subsea technologies, developing for the Arctic. And how can we develop opportunities that are there in very, very harsh environments, and you really have to do out of the box thinking, and it really challenge. And that's one thing I really love about my job. Not every day is the same, not every job is the same, and you get to try so many different things and constantly be challenged. So yeah, thank you for reminding me about that. It was great.
But this is part of the engineering challenges, and I think this is why engineers are kind of passionate about what they're doing, because you're always looking into something new, you're always solving a problem. And I like what you said is that is actually you can dream about something and make it real. You can touch it and you can feel it. Yes, and that's the nice thing about it. And I think that's where you get the satisfaction. And somehow we as women, it's part of our nature. You carry a baby inside your body and you don't see that baby, but you feel the baby and you feel the movement and you make your dreams, and then you get that baby and you touch the baby and you raise the baby to an adult that, a successful adult in our community. And that's something that's pretty much similar to what we do in engineering, isn't it?
Yes. And even the people I work with, some have really grown within Exxon, and it's great to say I was part of that person's journey as well. And it's, similar analogy to a child, and it is when you're working in a company, when you're working, it's an extended family that you have, and people are growing, people are learning, you're learning together and you're working together. So yeah, it's great. I love it. Absolutely love it. I love.
That's good. Okay. Well, thanks, Sarah. So we're gonna move to Dabia. And since we're talking about the growing and how people are moving, again, I'll ask you the same question. What do you love about your job? We're gonna change it from like to love. I have to say that the first time Dabia and I met, she was a student at Texas A&M University, and she was presenting her project in a poster, and it's just attracted me. And I stopped there and we had a chat, and I was just connected to this young, girl that was student that I can see the future. I can see how it is moving. And it's, amazing how you ended up being a professor at that same university where I saw you as a student. I want to know, what do you like about your job? Why you chose to be a faculty member rather than, going and working in the industry? What made you passionate about this job?
Thank you so much. First, thank you for also including me in this webinar among these wonderful ladies.
you were at one point like an inspiration, Dr. Hanan, because I remember when you were working as on your project, and you stopping by. I remember that very clearly. I think it was a Kiri event, or like it's yeah, I think so.
Yeah, a QF event. I think it was a QF event. Yeah, yeah.
I just want to touch point one thing on Sarah that she mentioned. She mentioned that she also joins the senior design and she's an external evaluator. Students love her. She always asks really intriguing questions.
I can imagine.
So they come the next semester, like when they see her in the first semester and they're in their project, the second one, they know they're gonna get a question from Sarah. So they get prepared like really well. So yeah, thank you so much for extending your knowledge and sharing it with our students. Why did I choose to become a faculty member? Well, I did not choose it. It kind of happened. I went into engineering, like Dr. El-Jazi mentioned, because I loved math and science. I live in Al Khor, so I live really close to the industrial city, Ras Laffan, and I grew up as the industrial city was growing. We had, like our class was 7 students, and then people who come with their families in Qatar, Gaza, and QP, and then my class was like all of a sudden 20 students because they joined the school that I was going to. And their parents were working as engineers, and we've noticed like a lot of changing like in the environment itself. So I was naturally curious about a lot of the processes that was happening, and chemical engineering for sure, because it was it had to do like with producing products at the same time like managing emissions, and I could feel like the emissions changing in the local environment. So right after high school I said, okay, I want to go to the best engineering school that is in Qatar. And I applied to both QU and TAMQ, and ended up going to TAMQ. And when I was an undergrad, I did research as an undergraduate student. I did the undergraduate research experience program by QNR of Europe project. And in there, I was doing like just small tests in the lab. And then I've noticed some other people who are working on the models. So when I did my serial design, I can see everything coming together. Like, oh, okay, you can actually go into peer-reviewed journals, have some numbers come up, you can simulate it, and then you end up with like a huge process that actually exists somewhere. So I love that chain of creating something from like something so small that was a paper, and you can see how it ends up being a huge impact of the economy. So that was one thing that attracted me a lot to engineering. And once I did my senior design, it was on converting biomass into added fuels. And in there was a lot of open questions. So it's like there's a lot of CO2 that's being emitted. This was back in 2012. And I could see that there was a lot of talk about like, the CO2 emissions, increasing climate change. So I was intrigued by that topic. So I was like, okay, I'm not done here. I cannot go and then work. I want to learn more. So I ended up enrolling in the master's program. And in the master's program, you get into research and you do your own thing. You get lost, you create your own. And then at the end you see, oh, then I have a paper that could end up in somewhere as a real process. So from there, I was hooked. I could not stop. I couldn't stop there. I wanted to go into the PhD program, and I think at the last year of my PhD, I was like, okay, now what do I want to do? I had multiple opportunities, thankfully because I had really good advisors and they had the support from the university. So they prepare like you can fit anywhere. If you want to go to industry, go ahead to industry. If you want to go to government, or if you want to go into academia. So I applied to all the open positions. If my priority was, if I get into an academic position, that would be great. I thought it was a long shot. And I applied to industry and I applied to government, and ended up getting the academic position. So I did not want to leave. I wanted to still create. I liked the freedom of being able to think about ideas, of working on a challenge that's not related to today, but also in the future, like a future challenge, like in 20 years time, what would people need? And being an academic, that gives you that freedom to do that. I get to work a lot with students. I get to talk to them and see how they're curious. I get to pass some of the knowledge that I know. It's not that much, but it's like just passing that knowledge that contributes to their career. And then you see them how they end up becoming an engineers, and maybe in the future you change their idea and their mind and they become in senior management, and then probably they change the status quo and stuff. So I like that trajectory. So academia is, I really love it. it's not all great. There's some challenges in there, but the challenges make you grow.
Thank you very much, and we can see the passion and we can feel it, and I really like how you described, the research and how you got into research. It's exactly, you start and you can't stop. That's the problem, you just feel, okay, there's more to learn, let's go explore more. And it's something that you see we see it in our daily life every day with children, with people who are trying to discover, and when they are in the early discovery stages. And that's what we see with the research. And a lot of rewarding is happening when you work with students. And we heard from Dr. Al-Jazi as well as you, it's this connection with the students and this how you help them and how you see them developing. I know that in our rehearsal, Dr. Al-Jazi recognized one of the staff that was helping us as a student. And it's quite nice, that you see this. You will see them everywhere. You're still the teacher, you're still the professor, you're still the faculty, still the person that they still owe a lot in their life. So thank you for sharing. And we'll come to Maddie. Maddie, we want to hear from you. You are working in corrosion engineering. That's my area. That's my specialties that I really like. There are few women in this area, and it's very challenging. And you're working in North Oil Company. You worked also with Total before. So what made you choose this job? What do you like about what you're doing, or love? Again, I'm going to use the same word as Sarah. What do you love about what you do?
Beforehand, thank you very much, Dr. Hanan and Dr. Amal, for the opportunity joining this webinar and also being surrounded by inspiring ladies today. So what inspiring me doing the corrosion work? So, well, people think about corrosion, they think about rust, first about dirty, and what is that actually? Why you want to care about this dirty things? But in fact, I would see that my job is just like to keep the fluid or the oil or gas or water, whatever being transported, keep inside the piping or the equipment, not getting out, not leaking, not polluting the environment. So I thought that my job really plays a big role in maintaining that, so that we are not polluting the area or the water that where the production facilities are. So in thinking of that, I'm thinking that it could be like a guardian of galaxy, but no, it's like guardian of the production facility. I choose this subject because when I was a graduate student back in 2002, I got the opportunity to learn about oil and gas industry and doing internship at the time in Corrosion. So before the internship, I know only a little bit from the subject in the university, from the lecture, but that's about mostly some theory and a little bit of practical thing. But coming to the industry, I just hooked. I cannot say it's really amazing. The size coming from the university as a student, coming to the oil and gas industry as even though as an internship, as an intern, then you see this huge production facilities, this huge, the separator or the piping and so on and so forth. So just like how to manage these things, how to keep this thing going and produced. And yet giving only minimum impact to the environment. So then I say, someday I will come back, because then I would like to join this industry. After bachelor, I come to master degree and doing the iron and steel making. But then after graduating from master, I got the opportunity to join Total at the time in Indonesia. Then I said I will take this opportunity. I will not waste this opportunity. And from that, I couldn't leave Corrosion. It's just like it's almost 50, it's 15 years from until now. So I just keep going in Corrosion, and people keep asking, you could choose other subject, you could choose or transition from technical subject to the managerial part. But I say, you know what, I'm happy with what I'm doing, and if that's possible to stay in the specialty domain, then I will take the specialty.
Yeah.
And with that, I continued the journey to Total headquarters. And even that is give me more opportunity to expose to different possibilities. And now with NOC, giving me the opportunity to work in maturing and also expanding field, expanding production. So it's never boring. It's never boring working in Corrosion, and it's never boring working in oil gas industry. You will learn. I learn a lot in this subject, from operation, from project developments, from meeting other people in different entities, or in also working together with vendors, with manufacturers, or working also with them together in a construction yard. I share the sentiment with Sarah, and walking in the construction yard, surrounded by huge modules, and then like, oh, what am I here? What I'm doing here? Just like every with all cranes overhead. So yeah, that's fascinating.
Yeah, well, I share the love of Corrosion like you. And even though I moved in management position, believe it or not, I still go to the lab and work in the lab. I just can't leave it. It's just something in your blood. It's very challenging. You always have a puzzle to solve and a problem to solve. You always want to know what caused this problem. So it's kind of motivating you to stay in it and try to resolve these issues. So I agree with you. Well, Mehdi, since we are with you, I want to ask you, you're working in the oil and gas fields, and you worked in Indonesia, you worked in France, and you worked in Qatar now. Can you give us an example of any challenges, if any challenges you faced being a woman engineer in the field? Was it easy for you to work in the oil and gas fields? Did you have any challenges? Did you face any issues?
Well, in terms of technical issues, I believe that will be the same, even though you are a woman engineer or man engineer, because basically we are talking about the oil and gas facilities, the oil and gas production facilities, or oil and gas projects. So, corrosion engineer, whether it's woman or man, will be facing the similar issues. But in terms, I would like to say that being a woman engineer, sometimes you need to be ready that feeling alone, because you are surrounded by work. Even from the engineering study in university, the percentage of women students is in technical or engineering is maybe like 10% or 20%. So, but then working with men is also great. I mean, I don't have particular issues, but there are some issues, particularly with some men if they start talking banter, or chit chat that not gender sensitive, I would say. But if we complain, and then well, they will not. Some will not. Some will not. Some will take a note. Some will not. But we know that okay, we will not speak with this person, or we will not. Hopefully, not work together with this this not so gender sensitive person. So yeah.
Yeah. So I guess it depends on individuals and the way that you deal with individuals, But in general, you feel that the environment was really good.
I feel welcome. I mean, even in Indonesia, in France, in here, also in Qatar, also when we're working with project, with I mean, the different nationalities, for example, with major development with construction yard in Korea, working a lot with the Korean people, well, mostly Korean men. But I mean, in the end, it's about work. It's about achieving the target. Well, there are some differences in a way of achieving things, but as long as you know, respecting each other, I mean, that would help. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, it is about the way that people communicate and interact with each other, and respect, as what you said, is a very important factor. Sarah, I'll go back to you, since we're talking about working in the field, and we want to know, did you face any challenges? Did you feel welcome as a woman engineer working in the field, along with the men's side?
Surprisingly, yes. And what I feel is that if you go to the field with an inquisitive mind, with an attitude of, I am here to learn, there is a perception, women or men, that especially guys that work at site, that, oh, engineers think they know it. They know it all. And some engineers will go to site and then kind of start instructing the site guys who have maybe worked there for very many years, who know how a piece of equipment works. And I've always felt that by having a different attitude towards them, their attitude changes. And I can share some pictures here of kind of my second biggest challenge in my work environment. This was in Russia, across a bay, and we needed to repair a pipeline. So I'm totally with Maddie and you guys. Corrosion is a big issue for us in the industry. We've got lots of corrosive material going through the pipelines, and we had a concern about a pipeline underneath this water right here. And so we had to build an ice road. It's minus 40 degrees. So just imagine minus 40 degrees Celsius. And, we had to, so where this piece of equipment is sitting on, we actually built this road. It's this piece of ice that he's sitting on is about 2 meters in thickness. And what we did is we sprayed a whole bunch of water over a whole month period just to build the ice and compound it. And therefore you see he's cutting through the ice right there. Yeah. And then we're putting in some slots there to make a cofferdam to then suck out the water and get to the pipe. But we had a lot of weather downtime. And so in the interim, the guys, again, the camaraderie, the fun, but it was really challenging in those weather conditions. You can see here I'm in my thermal gear. They made a little minion, and it's in the face of adversity, keeping your mind open. Anyone can have we had a lot of problems on this project, and just being open to hearing non-engineers' ideas, because they're the ones who do different things all the time. And even I would say the guys at site who maybe don't have an engineering degree are maybe better engineers than us that do have an engineering degree. And it's just really the challenge is, yes, maybe they've never had as they used to call me, woman boss up there. Maybe they've never had a woman boss, but if you go there and inquisitive, hey, what do you do? Like, show me. Oh, wow, that's amazing. And it's amazing what they do. They change their attitude, and it is so much fun.
So it just depends on the way that you interact with them. Again, back to what Maddie said, it's actually you could control the situation. You could make it better by the way that you're actually interacting with them. And that's true. That's true everywhere. Sometimes you feel that you're not welcome, but just the way that you approach people might make a difference. Dr. Al-Jazi, we want to hear from you. You know, we talked about the challenges and some of the difficulties that maybe women face in the field. Did you need to develop strategies for yourself, you know, to be able to prove yourself in your profession and to reach this higher management position? Is very, very unusual to find women reaching higher management positions as the level that you are achieving. And did you need to change things? Did you need to come up with a strategy to prove yourself and move up in the ladder and break the glass ceiling?
Dr. Hanan, before starting with this answer, I would like to highlight, just to add to what Sarah and Maddie mentioned, the number of, or the percentage of female students who prefer studying STEM is less and less. We need to encourage female students to study, to take those disciplines as a career for them. I remember when I studied computer engineering at Qatar University, I was in the first batch. So I still remember the first day when we went and applied for admission. So we saw an article in the newspapers once our high school results were out, and we were so happy that Qatar University is starting engineering for female. So we went the second day and we talked to the admission and registration department, and they said, engineering, no, it's only for boys. We're not allowing this for female students. But anyway, we registered, we got the admission and we started. And then whenever anyone is asking us, what do you study? It's so funny how faces and reactions are. Usually, the questions that follows this is it easy? Why did you choose engineering? Can you find a job later? Are you sure? Will you work in the industrial area or within a factory or in the middle of the sea? Those questions they were not frustrating, but it really made us so ambitious that we are the first batch, we will make a difference. Although at that time, lots of female were taking scholarships and they studied abroad and they came back to Doha and they joined. We have lots of expats coming here to work as engineers. So engineering wasn't new, but for a national university to start this program for female, it was new. And I think I was lucky that I studied computer engineering. So I can find a job easy, but for the other group, the industrial engineering graduates, it was really hard for them because the perception of industrial engineering wasn't well known at that time, and employers did not understand the meaning or the importance of engineering and industrial engineering at that time. But I can see things now are much more organized. Women engineers really proven themselves in the field way before this. And employers are now aware of what are the different disciplines that we have and why it is important to have female engineers as part of their team. For strategies, I think it's the same for engineers and for any other discipline. You have to be successful. You have to focus on your career. You have to keep developing yourself. Most of people think that once I graduate, and once I have this transcript, I'll enjoy life. You can enjoy life while studying. You can enjoy life while keeping the learning process going. You can do this while being successful. You can, and I think the personal development plan that someone should start with should be continuous. So whenever you work, you have to make sure that this year you are different than last year. Your skills are more higher than your skills last year. And do not expect your supervisor or your boss will do this for you. It has to be from your own, it has to be self-initiated. You have to make sure that you are the one who's responsible for your own development, your own learning. And it can be easy. We're not requesting someone to create a full document of 150 pages of a plan that he should follow and everyone should follow. You can learn even from someone that you're meeting in one of your work meetings. You just need to see, you just need to listen, you just need to focus on what's going around you. This is the strategies that I'm always using for myself. And to those who are listening to us today, this evening, and they are still students, I have a single advice for you. While you are inside your class, do not get busy with your phone, because it's really the tool that can delay the development of learning. Focus during the class will make a huge difference. And for workers, focusing during the meetings, focusing on your work, you can finish your work in 1 hour, or you can finish it in 10 hours. It just depends on which way do you want to go for.
Thank you very much, Dr. Al-Jazi. That's
much
really
educational, I know.
Yes, exactly. So focus is the thing. And I guess what I hear is that, you know, enjoy your life as you are a student, because once you start working, if you want to develop yourself and develop your career, you have to work hard. Nothing comes in easily. Do you believe, I'll ask this question to Rabia, do you believe that women have to work double the time and have to put double the efforts that men are doing to prove themselves in the engineering sector?
I think that's what we internalize, and we tell ourselves that we have to be twice as good. In reality,
that's good.
Yeah, it's true. It's internal, because whenever you go into a room, I don't know, I'm pretty sure all of you have been through this. You are the only woman in that room. We saw the pictures of Sarah being the woman boss. They call her the woman boss because there's one woman boss. So it's not very, you don't see a lot of people like you there, not till now. I expected that I would see more females who are in, say, leadership positions. Then they will make it easier for you, that it's the norm, that you can fail and try again. Yeah, it is. It's normal. It's just we don't have to take it as hard on ourselves. We have to also have a support network and ask for help. I always thought asking for help is a sign of weakness. This year, I learned that is actually, you do need help. And you can reach out, and you can have mentors and have a support of like different types of mentors. And you can ask for their help whenever you need it. And it's okay to be vulnerable. So yeah, I think internally we do take that pressure upon ourselves. Sometimes being a woman actually put you as an advantage. I know for sure when I was interviewing, they liked the fact that I was a woman. That's an advantage for them. Like they said, okay, we have a lack of women in STEM. We want a Qatari engineer. We want a Qatari faculty member or a female faculty member. So it can be an advantage for you. So be aware of the opportunities that are there and lean into that aspect of being a female, because it can be helpful. I think internally, yeah, it will take a lot of work. Yeah, but with having more and more examples, it will become the norm, and hopefully we don't have to be twice as good. See it as well in grad school and in undergrad. We have our female engineers, they work super hard and they want to get that A. And whenever we have, say, a gathering, or this is back in the old days before COVID, we say, okay, do you want to go give a presentation? They become shy, even though they are the top students in the class. So we need to encourage more students to like be outgoing, the female students to present their work, to network, to help them with that aspect. Because you see, males, they would have a higher level of confidence. I don't know how. Some of them are really good, and they do deserve it. They do deserve it. But also, we need to encourage our females to become more confident.
Yeah. I think it's part of the culture, you know, here at least in the Middle East, that males are always, you know, thought to be, what can I say? You know, they're always put in a right position. They always have to show that they are independent, they are strong. You know, it's part of how men are raised in this culture. And I might be wrong, but I can see this, you know, they're very proud. They don't like to make mistakes. They like to have everything done well. But also we have women in the same way, but women are not under that pressure like men. But men, since younger age, you know, no, you're a man, you shouldn't cry, you know, all these things, that pressure on them. And that's unfortunately, you know, that's unfair to them, to be honest. You know, we ask them, this culture asks them to give a lot and have this, you know, this type that we would want to see. I want to move on something different. You know, I want to talk, like all of you talked about your experience, you know, challenges and things that you face. We'll go back to Maddie. We didn't hear from you for a while. We want to know about, like, can you tell us some of your accomplishments, you know, something that you would remember that and you're proud of accomplishing throughout all your career?
Yes, this is to go back to the what years was that? I think 2011. Yes, and then the work goes back to the 2010 before. So at the time, I was part of the team that need to do the optimization of material selection for the downhole completion for the well. So basically, we are testing new completion materials that goes from conception and then from then to the field test with the well, and then finally it succeeded, and that the new methodology was finally applied field-wide, and that's bring really a good how to say, good feeling that finally from the paper to the real well, and then it works. So then also, yes, to the company, then the company will will able to cut costs on the well deliveries and the cost of the well. And that experience was made a paper, and I presented that paper in NIST Corrosion 2011. So that's the first time I went to this international conference of corrosion, NIST Corrosion. This is one of the biggest, this is the biggest event in corrosion world. So every year there is a corrosion conference in USA. So then where all corrosion from different industries gathered for 1 week to discuss and meet and have a technical meeting, a presentation, and so on and so forth. So then I got a chance to present this paper in international event, and that feels good. That brings a lot of confidence that well, usually, I don't know, maybe as a woman, we tend to doubt ourselves, but we can overcome that doubt, that we can do it, we can achieve the work, and we can also present.
Do you think that because we're women, we sometimes wanted everything to be perfect? We work very hard and we want it to be the best. Do you feel that?
Yes, I feel that also. Maybe that's the pressure because we are alone. I mean, in the team, even back then in Indonesia for several years, I was alone in corrosion team. There are several engineers, but yes, I am alone. So then maybe if I make mistake or I make mistake, then people will point it out that, I see a mistake, but no, the other people will not do that to me. No, and also we take I take a mistake as a way of learning. So then by that we can do better next time. So we know that we fell for that, but we will not fall for the second time.
Yeah.
But
So
I agree on that. That there are things that most important is achieve and complete it, not to be 100% perfect.
yeah. And one thing, you know, that's exactly one thing we want to say to young engineers is that it's okay to make mistakes, as what Madi said. You know, it's fine to make the mistakes. It's a way for you to learn, and don't be shy to ask. You know, everybody have to ask. Doesn't mean that you are not smart or you don't know much. No, it's people learn by asking, and it's very healthy to ask when you don't know, rather than, you know, saying, okay, I know everything, because nobody knows everything. All of us are learning every day. Thank you, Madi. I'm gonna go to Dr. Al-Jazi, and we want to hear about your accomplishment. What do you think that you know, you're proud of in your career, that you accomplished and you're proud of?
Okay, similar to Dr. Dabia, I got the Platinum Medal for Education Excellence Day from His Highness Sheikh Tamim. That was when I graduated from university back in 2006. And I always love to say that this is my biggest accomplishment. I really love this medal, and I always encourage students that I meet at Qatar University or CNAQ to really work hard for it. I usually recommend students and advise them to level up their education and to put this award as a goal, because it's not something simple that it will happen. It really needs dedication. It really needs hard work to do. So level up your education, and creating a fruitful educational experience will pay off one day. It could be the first year of your work or after 10 years of work, but your education is so much important. A project that I would like to share is the National Day project. That was a couple of years when I graduated. 18th of December celebration was new at that time. I was an employee at Qatar University, student affairs and student activities department. So we wanted to create an extra curriculum activity for students and a new project. So we decided, okay, how can we celebrate the National Day? And we wanted something big. We wanted a celebration where students will come up with ideas, students can participate, students can volunteer, and other students to come and feel what is the National Day. What values are we going to bring for students in this celebration? It's not just fun, but it should bring to them some values. It should leave a change in them once they attend and participate. So I remember that one of the old staff in that department, at that time I was new at the department. I did not complete 6 months. So I remember one of the staff mentioned to the VP student affairs at that time, and he said, that young person that you just added to the team does not understand how we work. This will not happen, and we will never be able to bring more than 50 students to attend. And guess what? Students who volunteered to participate with us in this event were 512 students, volunteers only. And we were able to do a very nice event at the stadium. The first event on campus that is happening at the stadium. The participants who attended were around more than 3,000 participants. So we really changed. Yeah, we really changed something, and we set a new standard for the activities. Activities after that event were not the activities before. So, and it wasn't a one-man show or a one-woman show. It was a dedicated team behind this. The 512 students who participated made it different. The ideas they brought were amazing. The collaboration that I was seeing every day and the team were amazing. And I remember that we contacted high schools, lots, and also primary schools. Lots of schools collaborated with us in this event. It was amazing. And whenever I remember this event or I talk about it, you can see a big smile on my face. So things would happen if you plan right. If you want this project to be accomplishment that you keep talking about, you can do it. just work on it. So this is one of the projects that I'm really proud of. I can consider my PhD as really also an accomplishment, because I decided not to travel, and it just happened. I wasn't able to travel because of social aspects. So I decided to continue my studies at Qatar University, and the beloved Qatar University, and I got my PhD. But working in the morning, then studying at the evening, and maintaining my social life, and being a member in an active family, the family and the extended family is so hard. Someone might think that's okay, I just completed my studies. No, studying here in Qatar with all these activities going around is hard, whether it's a PhD, master degree, or even attending your university. It's really hard, but with the support of everyone, we can make. So I think this is also an accomplishment.
That's a big accomplishment. And this is something that women are good at, multitasking, doing so many things at the same time, and amazingly, doing a good job in all. Just your brain works in all the directions, and you're taking care. While one of my friends was saying, okay, while I am in a meeting, and, discussing things, meanwhile, I have in my background, okay, supper tonight, we're going to have this for supper, and just like you have things working at the same time, and you're amazed how you can focus on all. And I guess it's a natural aspect of being a woman, being a mother, that always you have to care about people around you, and you have to be able to have a strength to take care of all what is happening around you. Thank you very much.
Dr. Hanan, I think we are good at multitasking, and as Rabia said, we really work hard. It's not that we want to prove ourselves, no, but it is within us. We really work hard. If you give us a task, we will do it, but we really work hard on it. We don't want the 10 out of 10. We are looking for the 10 out of 10 plus a star, the 11 out of 10, and a happy face that someone will draw next to the grade. This is why we really love what we do. And I remember once I was joining an educational program, and in that program we have to create small teams. We work on something, then we present. And as Rabia mentioned, women will never go for a presentation because they are shy. Some will not. I would love to present, but I remember that someone once mentioned, we have to make sure that there is a female in the group. And I was listening, and then he said, because they really work so hard and they will never present. So let them work and we are going to present. It was a joke. It was a joke at that time, but I think, yeah, some women would feel shy to do this, but they have to stand up for their ideas, stand up for their hard work, and just go and present.
Yeah. And you're right about the hard work, and we've seen it many, many times. Thank you very much. I want to remind the audience that if you have any questions, please use the Q&A tab and send us your questions, and we'll have at the end a possibility to discuss your questions with the panelists. I will go back to you, Sarah, and I want to ask about your accomplishments. If you want to give us an example of things that you have accomplished and you were so proud of.
So before I answer the question, I just wanted to comment on Dr. Al-Jazi's previous commentary on kind of when she first started out and going into engineering, and people asked her, like, are you going to be able to get a job afterwards? Because that really, really resonated when you said that. My parents are both Iraqis, super supportive of whatever I wanted to do. And my mom wanted me to be a doctor or a lawyer, and my dad's an engineer. So when I told him I wanted to go into engineering, my mom was like, no, I told you either a doctor or a lawyer, because that's kind of I don't know, the Arab way, or, you know, kind of thing. It's the expected kind of thing. And, you know, so I had to sit with her and explain to her, like, what opportunities were there by going into engineering. Because I was like, look, it's not only kind of, you know, similar comments before, is this, you know, oh, corrosion's dirty and, you know, kind of thing. It's, you know, I can go into business. It really opens your aperture, and it's all about how you think. And I can tell you, to this day, my mom cannot explain to people what I do. She tells people I work offshore and I direct people what to do offshore. And, you know, when I had my daughter, you know, people are like, well, what does she do now that she has a daughter? No, no, no. Now she's onshore directing the offshore work. Because to her, you know, oil and gas is the platforms offshore, and, you know, she can't explain it any better than that. And I love my parents to bits, but you know, they struggle a little bit to understand what I actually do. But, you know, it's a shift, hopefully. And, you know, we can support our young daughter, you know, my young daughter, if she wants to become an engineer, fully supportive. So regarding your question on kind of what my biggest challenge is, you know, this one I really struggled with because there was a lot of things that, you know, especially ExxonMobil, they give us the opportunity to try things for the first time. You know, in Russia, first hot taps and first plugs in the pipeline. You know, I got to try the first 3D survey that now is more common.
Yeah.
You know, kind of. And then I really thought about it, and you know what? My biggest accomplishment, and I'll share a picture because I think it really reflects it as well, is my daughter.
I wanted to about to say that. I kind of guessed that.
Jasmine.
I
And
agree
you know,
with you.
when I became a mother, I really realized that, you know, keeping my team safe at site was my most important goal in my career. And making sure that the guys at site remember their families, that are, you know, that encourage them to be safe and work safely. And you can see here on the left, when she was actually, maybe she was a year and a half, I started a program where we did an art competition for children, you know, for people working to do some artwork. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna get my kid also to do some artwork. And she was at that age where they didn't like to get their hands dirty, you know. But you know, because I call it my biggest accomplishment, and it's part of my work, because especially in COVID, where, you know, working from home, her unable to go to school every day, you know, it's making sure that I'm able to do my work, but making sure she's happy, healthy, you know, kind of that she's still able to develop, you know, and continue that curious mind that potentially she could then become a future engineer. And supporting my team to also be able to spend time with their family, to support their family, I think is really, really important. So that's kind of been my my biggest and greatest accomplishment.
I like your answer because I was asked one time in a seminar about my biggest accomplishment, and my answer was exactly the same like you. It's amazing whatever you do in your career, but the moment that you have your first child, it's always like, you know, you're bringing life to the world. You know, you're bringing a new life, and this is, I think, there is nothing that compete with this. Nothing. Whatever we do is nothing compared to bringing this new life to the world. And I'm glad to hear this. So yeah, congratulations.
Making sure, yes, and making sure she's proud of what I do, you know, kind of thing, because she loves sitting on my lap and, mommy, I want to work, and, you know, like, oh, I want to type, no, I want to send an email, you know, so I have to pull up an email, and I was like, oh, let's put to your father, and he gets gibberish, you know, kind of thing. But then, you know, I message, say, this is from your daughter.
But
was a Disney.
you saw in our rehearsal how my son, was preparing a presentation for me to present today in this webinar. And he made sure before, I start, he made sure that to remind me, you're gonna have to show the presentation and you say that I made it, So it's kind of how they are engaged in our life and in our work and how they're proud of us. And that's, I guess, something that makes us feel satisfied, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's great to be able to, when I bring her to work, she's just amazed about the number of like my own computer. Oh, you get pens and pencils and paper if you want to, kind of thing. The ability to print, go into the meeting room, it's a real pleasure for her to even write on the board, kind of thing. And yeah, it's great to have that connection with your family as part of your work.
Yeah, I want to go. Thank you very much, but I'm gonna move to Dabia just to ask this, and then we have a last question to circulate before we go to the Q&A. Dabia, we want to hear from you about your accomplishment. What are you proud of? I know something. I can add. I can tell you something, but I want to hear from you first.
Well, now that I became an academic, I think my students' accomplishments are my accomplishments. The fact that I get to see the knowledge that we created together and see them succeed, that brings me so much joy. So I think one of my greatest accomplishments is seeing my students who I advised graduate with master's degrees. One of them actually ended up in the PhD program. And I was so proud of him for doing that. I also have one student who I mentored as a freshman undergrad, who ended up in the master's program in Talmud Q, and another student who went to MIT. And I was so happy that to see that I could influence their decisions a little bit, get them hooked on research. But they're really great students, and they're both females, so I'm so happy about that. I'm also really happy that the majority of the students that I mentor right now are females, and we do have some really also great male students, and we have a really great group. So I'm really proud of my group, and I think that's my greatest accomplishment right now.
You guys at Texas A&M are attracting a lot of women engineers, and we talked about the percent of women engineers graduate from Texas A&M, and we looked at the 51%, and I found that at Texas A&M website this year, 2021, they approached 57% of Texas A&M graduates are women. And that's a big accomplishment. It's women are exceeding the number of men in the engineering sector. And one thing that we wanted to do through this Association of Women Engineers is to help these women finding job opportunities and preparing them for the job and work. So it's very nice to see this shift and this transition. I'm going to say that, I want to say something about your accomplishment. I think that's what the Texas A&M would say. The university would be proud to have one of their students as a faculty member. It's always nice for the university to see somebody that they, taught and built their career and everything, and then they graduate and then they come back and they become a faculty. And what's special about it is that this is a Western university. Texas A&M started in Qatar, and with the idea to bring in education, Western education, to the Middle East and to the region. And it's nice to see that this is happening now. We see the new generation getting in, and they're becoming the faculty that are spreading this knowledge. So the transfer of the knowledge is happening, and we can see it. And for us as women engineers, we're proud to see a woman in this position, because you're the first one who does this, and it's always going to be, something we're proud of. Somebody was saying, we shouldn't be, saying this is the first to do this, this is the first to do this. We should be looking forward to a way that we don't say this, because this should be that, normal. So I would hope, in 5 years from now, I would hope to see more women, faculty women, and in engineering, especially Qataris. You have some women faculty in the engineering program at Texas A&M, but seeing more Qataris and seeing the new generation moving up and taking up these positions, this is amazing, and this is something that we wanted to see. And so we're happy, and I think we consider it as a big accomplishment ourselves.
Thank you, Dr. Hanan. And hopefully by, say, if you check on us in 10 years, we're going to have more.
Hopefully that. So I want to ask the last question here, and it's mainly when we chose the theme of this webinar. It's based on what's happening in the international, in the celebration of the International Women in Engineering Day. This year's theme is Engineering Heroes, and it looks into women engineers that have impacted the economy and impacted the societies during the hard time of COVID-19. One of my friends calls it good old COVID. You know, whenever he tried to mention something about COVID-19, he says, well, good old COVID, you know, he's doing this to us. And so COVID-19 changed our life significantly. And all the studies show that women mainly were affected and impacted more because of their nature of what they do. Women always are the guardian of their families. They're always taking care of their kids. They're always taking care of their elderly in the family. And then at the same time, they had jobs to do. And there were lots of women in the front line in the health and sciences. And we had biomedical engineers. We had different types of engineers that were contributing. But we also have a lot of women and different sectors. And we're talking today about women and engineers that were in the background, and they were doing a great job keeping the economy going, supporting the countries. So I want to ask each one of you, and we're going to start with Maddie again. So Maddie, I want to know, what do you think that you have done that had a positive impact on the economy, on the country during COVID-19 through your work, through the work that you are doing?
So from the work, I mean, work professionally, that yes, I'm still, even though with all the restriction, the limitation due to the COVID, I can still work at doing my job as usual. I mean, thanks to the technology now, it's okay to work from home, not only being in the office. So then keep as if now keep going as usual. Yes, there are some impacts related to the mobilization, going offshore, and so on and so forth. But in terms of delivering what are expected from us as the employee, it does. We can delivering that target. We can delivering that objective, and at the same time maintaining the health of us and also the family. I mean, talking not only the professional life, but also the personal life, the family life. It's really important to keep our family safe and healthy, and try as much as possible to limit the exposure. So yeah, then even though with all this restriction, it's good that we are still in the healthy condition.
Yep.
As a person, as an employee, as a mother, as a wife, as a daughter. Yeah.
Did you feel a lot of pressure during, you know, especially the period of the lockdown, with, you know, keeping up with your job and at the same time with I know you have children, with your children and supporting them at this time?
Well, there are times that I feel like I already this level, like drowned, because everything is just happening at the same time, like online schooling. That I got two boys, one is 12, one is 5. The one that is 12 years old just need some you know, minimum supervision, maybe us or helping at the end of the lessons after 4 o'clock or after 5 o'clock. But the one with the young one, 5 years old, that needs really help from constant supervision during the online school. So yes, at that time it seemed that it's totally difficult, it's hard, but then with help also. So if possible to shift some meetings, I would ask that. If not possible, then yes, I do it at the same time. So I sit down with my laptop doing the meetings, and at the same time, next to me, my young son also sit listening to the teacher from the school. So, or also I ask support from my husband because he works also, I mean, in the same industry, in oil and gas industry also. So then, as much as possible, we play like a tag team, you know. Yeah, this time I'm available, next time he's available, or then like, okay, now your turn. It's my turn now. Something like that, trying to organize things, try to work out a solution.
It's very, very difficult with the young children. And during COVID time, it was more difficult in virtual schooling with the younger children than the older ones.
Yeah, hopefully in end of August or in September when the school starts, all the children can go back to school safely. So that's the most important thing. Yeah.
We
If
all
not,
hope
then
that.
we will continue like this, partial online, partial physical learning in school. But we are on this together. So yeah.
Yeah, hopefully, and we're thankful to the teachers, you know, and we are appreciating what they're doing. After COVID-19, we just realized how much patience they have, how many efforts they're doing. I have my son, you know, who you all met, and he's a very naughty kid. And his teacher, you know, the good teachers, the easy teachers, when they are in a Zoom, he just does the best to disturb them. And I just feel bad about it, you know. So in some incidents, I have to be sitting next to him because we have a nanny, but even the nanny cannot control it. As soon as you put a mouse in his hand and he knows the other kids are there, it's not all the time virtual for him. He's grade one. He starts chatting, so the teacher, the kids will not focus and chat back. And then he start bugging the teacher to get control of the Zoom. And one more time, the teacher by mistake accepted it. And then it was a disaster. You know, he would erase what she's writing, stop the videos that she's playing. And, you know, you see that, and you as a mother boiling, you know, because, I mean, like you say, oh my God, I'm going to kill him. And you get at the other end, that teacher who's dealing with these young kids with a big smile on her face and say, okay, you know, okay, that's stop now. It's not your time. I'm not going to give you control again. And you look at it and you say, amazing, God loves these teachers. They're doing a lot to us and they're taking a lot of the load that we have, you know. And I think that's one thing that COVID brought, a lot of positive things that we haven't seen in our life before and noticed, you know, how our kids are doing at school. It was nice for me to hear my daughter listening to her teachers, you know, and she's grade 6 and listening to all these classes that she's taking, and then also see how the teachers are. And so there is a positive thing that came out of this. And speaking of teachers, we're going to go to Dabia. Dabia, we want to hear from you. What do you think that you've done during COVID-19 that helped the country during this time? And I think we talked about teachers. We want to hear from you. You know, how did it work for you?
We literally had to switch to online overnight. Once we heard, I think I had a midterm scheduled, and they were so relieved that they're gonna do the midterm from home. So, I told them that no, now it's gonna be harder. We gave them 1 week earlier, and then we had to decide like we make like individual exams, and they had to have 2 cameras on them and stuff like that. But it was definitely a learning experience. We're so thankful to have the support of the IT department. Like we leaned a lot on them from the university. They had trained us on this before. We did carry some online sessions, but the switch was so smooth. So I'm really grateful for them, whoever is from IT attending. Thank you so much for what you're doing for your organization. What we had to do, we had to adapt like everybody else. So we had to learn how to deliver lectures online, how to assess the students, how to become more available for the students. Back in normal times, you see people stopping by, they knock on the door, they ask you questions, or if you notice like one student is struggling, you can just ask them more questions or guide them or talk to them after class. All of a sudden, we had to change the way we communicate even through Zoom. Like, how would you know if someone is struggling, how to approach that student. In the beginning, knowing the batch, because I taught them in-person class like sessions, it was easier to relate. But later on, when I had like the people who I never met before except on Zoom, it was a completely different environment. We had to learn how to be more empathetic to the students, to become more flexible, without reducing the quality that the expectations that you have from them. Especially in engineering school, I teach junior level courses and senior level and graduate level. So I would say the graduate students, because they work more independently on themselves, they were easier to adapt because they work a lot by themselves. They already know the foundations. Reaching out to that, like almost senior students, having them, making sure that they have all the tools in order to succeed in the upper classes. So we had to, for example, offer more free sessions like recitation. I was teaching a course that has a lot of coding, so we had to even offer one extra session. So instead of like 3 times class sessions, we also offered recitations, twice the amount that we would give before. As I said, we kept the communication lines open. So on Microsoft Teams, for example, I gave them my personal number as well. If you have any questions, you can just drop me a message. And guess what? The struggling students, they never do. The good ones, they ask you more questions. It's the quiet ones who you don't know about. So even forcing that communications, like we had to do individual sessions with students in order to make them more comfortable, more relating, they can relate more to you. I hope that we did a good job. Now we get one class graduated having their last year fully online, and we have one class that has now had first year online. So hopefully next semester it would be better. We are very thankful to our partners, like someone like Sarah. Thank you so much for attending all of those sessions online and becoming so flexible. Our whole community was so understanding. So I think we had to become more, everybody had to lean to their feminine side in this pandemic.
Thank you very much. And the one question, like, how did you guys do with the labs? It's engineering and it's hands-on. And so it must be really challenging to go virtual,
Yes.
and just cancel all these labs. So what did you do to solve the problem?
We did something amazing. That was Dr. Ghada Salama and
Yes.
her team. She was the one handling the lab. She's the other female faculty in the chemical engineering program and one of 3 engineering faculty in Texas A&M. She handled it perfectly. So they had the lab technicians with their, they have 3 lab technicians who are helping. They were going into the lab, they had GoPros on. The students gave them the instructions and they were just the hands. It's like as if you have a robot. And it went really well. Like it was an experiment. They had to work a lot during the semester. They were working overtime, but they managed to do it very well. And I think we're gonna have more of this hybrid learning for the future in case something else happens. I think it was one of the most successful examples, and Dr. Ghada Salama did a great job with that.
This is very, very good idea, and it's excellent actually, because you still had the students having the experience, even if it's virtually, but they still did that part. Yeah, it's amazing, and I'm really impressed with this. Before we move to the second question, I want to remind the audience that we will be having a Q&A session just starting shortly. So if you have any questions, please don't forget to write them in the Q&A section, and we will get the panelists to answer your questions. If you have a specific question for a specific panelist, please address the name of the panelist in this question, and we'll make sure that your questions are answered within the time frame of this webinar. Dr. Al-Jazi, we are again in education, but one thing that people struggled with during COVID-19 was mental health and depression. And you, where you are in your position, you're dealing with a lot of students, you're dealing with a lot of issues related to this. How was it for you? What did you feel that you've done in COVID-19 that helped the students that might be struggling? We also have the issues, of people who get affected by COVID-19, and then organizing things all around that, and having people have to be quarantined, and all these issues. How did you deal with it at CNAQ?
Similar to what Dr. Dabia mentioned, we had to be online within one night. We had to provide our education and total services online within one night. It was hard, challenging, but I think all universities and higher education institutions in Qatar made it up to the level. Worldwide, all the mental health topics were very hot when COVID started. The number of people who needed help and support really increased, and not only at CNAQ, but worldwide. The biggest challenge that we faced is to be flexible as a college, and to make sure that instructors, faculties are also flexible to this fact, and to the fact that if we have a final exam, for example, and we are asking a student to open the cam while doing the exam, we expect, and it really happened, we expect a student's mom is coming to ask him, do you want lunch? And most of the time it's in Arabic. And the other instructor from the other end, staying in his office, listening to this, doesn't know Arabic. He cannot consider whether it's a cheating case or what. So it was really hard for us to be flexible as a college, and as the whole process of education had to be flexible to accommodate this. So and also students being quarantined or being sick because of this virus. Sometimes, as you know, Dr. Hanan, we are an applied college, and we have some labs. So students are coming to campus to do some. Our model was hybrid, really. So some labs we asked students to come to campus, and even the hand-on projects. Students had to do projects in team of 3 or 4. So they had to come on campus to finish their project. So some of them were really quarantined at home. And setting a deadline for a project was hard. And going back to the instructor, telling him or her that that student is quarantined for 14 days and he cannot be on campus for this deadline was really hard. And sometimes we thought of it as, okay, you are quarantined, you are home, and just say, as we do, stay in your room and open the cam or complete doing your project. But it's not. It's about being a member of a family, standing for your family. If someone is sick, this is really hard. You cannot just close the door and open your computer and attend your class or finish your project. It's way harder than what we thought. Again, it needed the collaboration from the faculty members, from the student affairs sector, from even the whole admin team from college, and also with students. We needed students to be to adhere to the policies that we are issuing, to the health guidelines that we are trying to maintain. I remember in the final exams on campus, we asked students to wear their mask and to put a face shield. And we were so shocked that some students are refusing to do this. So we were trying our best to bring students to adhere to the guidelines, but that was also a challenge that we faced. The family collaboration was also needed. Some families did not cooperate with us in terms of if there is a final exam and we are asking a student to do the final exam at home, we expect the house to be quiet, at least that student will have a dedicated quiet place. But it's so hard to do it with a house full of people quarantined or staying at the same house. Some students have small houses up to 4 rooms, and we cannot ask everyone to leave one single room for that students to have his exam. Another issue we had, which was immediate after COVID, when COVID started, is accessibility to online education. Not everyone can have, not all family members can have a different laptop at the same time, and a mic and a cam. That was hard, but within College of North Atlantic Qatar, we made our best to make sure that all our education components are online from day one. All our students have their own laptops and tools that will make them online. We tried our best to make all services, to transfer all services online. One of them is our counseling services for mental health. So all our counselors were online, either through Zoom, either a phone call, or a personal counseling, which was there. So we made it eventually. We made it.
It's a tough time, and Allah yatikum al-afiyah.
And I just have to say, Dr. Hanan, I'm so proud of the team here at College of North Atlantic, led by Dr. Salim, our president, Dr. Salim Naimi. We really were working day and night, the whole team, including the IT, the faculty members, the learning team, the team that developed all this. They were working day and night to make this available to students. And we are still committed to this change. And I think COVID brought us opportunities. Now going forward, even if the education is 100% full on campus, I think we have lots of online opportunities that we can provide to students here in Qatar and internationally. We can do a lot online, which we weren't able to do, and we did not thought of earlier. But now options are a lot.
Thank you very much, Dr. Al-Jazi. Yes, COVID brought us a lot of opportunities, a lot of new ideas, and made us think that things can be possible. We're going to end up with the same question to you, Sarah. We need to know, we want to know, how did you contribute through your work during COVID-19 time? How did you contribute to support the country?
Yeah, I think a lot of what I've just heard really resonated, and whether you're in academia or in the industry, I think it's it's almost a carbon copy. Especially Dr. Dabia, asking for help is not a sign of weakness. That's definitely a learning for all of us, in this COVID time. I'll just share a quick story. The school called us up, set up a 1-hour session and said, look, this blended learning for your 4-year-old is not working. You need to start also teaching. And I was like, I'm not a teacher. And we had a 1-hour session on phonics, 44 sounds. And I'm like, hold on, this is like a new language almost. And, I reached out to my mom. And she has been absolutely amazing. She lives in the south of France, and she spends about an hour a day, even to now, with my daughter, teaching her phonics and maths. Anything that I can't do, because, I looked at myself, during this period and realized that, trying to teach my daughter was frustrating me, and it was frustrating my daughter, and asking for that help was imperative. And what Dr. Al-Jazi said just now, totally resonated as well, in that, when we hit COVID and we realized we still needed to get our job done, to keep the economy going, to, in my team's case, fund, billions of dollars of a project. We just could not delay funding of the project. I treated it like an engineering problem. And the first thing I did was research. And I'm so grateful as well that, ExxonMobil also provided us the leadership training on resilience and recognizing mental health issues, and really helped us, gives us tools that, look, there's technology that can help you to continue to deliver in these difficult times. and also recognizing that we all have families. We're all in very difficult situations. I had team members that were stuck in their home country and couldn't get back. One of the teams is based in Malaysia, couldn't get back to Malaysia. And, you know, the time difference was totally unmanageable, but they completely shifted their day to night and their night to day just to continue the work going. But imagine what that, you know, they were 4 months stuck out of Malaysia. Imagine what that does to your mental health, you know, and exactly what Dr. Al-Jazi said, being available, being there to talk to them, finding out what are the resources available to them, you know, helping them and asking them, what can I do to help you? And they'll be like, look, can you figure out what do I need to do to get back into Malaysia? Okay, I'll take that off. What else do you need? You know, one of the guys, you know, he got COVID and his whole family, and he's just like, oh, I don't know. And I was like, look, you know, do you want me to find about online ordering food service for you in the US? So I found a resource in the US that could help with that. And got him you know, these are the companies that, you know, deliver food to your house. You know, it's taking those stresses away to be able to continue to deliver on our projects and make sure the mental health is there was critical. So yes, it was a tough time. And, you know, that word resilience became like the thing of COVID. And I would say every single person, whether a woman or man, totally demonstrated resilience in this really, really difficult time.
Thank you very much. It was a difficult time. It is still, it's much better, but it is still a difficult time. And I like the way how you described, you know, how the whole operation is impacted by this. You have these projects, you have employees that's stuck in their countries or away from their countries. They cannot come back, they cannot work, so they manage to do it online. And we face this everywhere. And I was so impressed with how people adapt. You know, you see, like you find people, for example, who have kids, and they have to help their kids in the morning during working hours. And so you end up having people sending you emails, and you can, at the beginning of the lockdown, you can tell who are the ones that start their work day after 5 o'clock, you know, until 10, 11. And then you think about them and you say, well, probably they're up next day at 8 a.m. to help their kids. So it was a tough time, and we all went through it, and it's a memory that we will not forget. But it's, yes, what you said, COVID taught us resilience. And so we have only a few minutes left, and thank you very much, ladies, for all this insightful discussion and all these ideas and this experience that you exchanged with us. And I will start with the first question from Dr. Amal Al-Maliki. Her question asks, for all the working mothers, did you find your jobs being supportive, unfair, difficult when it came to needing to be there for your children? What obstacles have you had to or still have to face regardless of your accomplishment? And I would leave this to who wants to answer this.
I would like to start answering this question. I think I'm lucky working for CNAQ. Everyone here is supportive, and supportive of me being a woman and working as an associate vice president. I remember once my kid was sick. So when I came in the morning, I told Dr. Salim, the president of CNAQ, that my kid is sick, and I asked that I need to take him to the private doctor. And he said, you shouldn't do this. He's your son. You should go with your kid for the appointment. Leave now. If you do not have a car, I'll ask the institution car to, you can use the institution car. People here are supportive, and I think this is something, it comes with the environment. So within CNAQ, I think people are so much supportive. And yes, sometimes I go to meetings where I'm the only female in that meeting, one or two, but people are supportive. And I think COVID taught us that it's not only being a woman, but it's the whole family suffering from COVID. So it really hit us all, men and women. Our priority list changed, and whether I'm staying home or someone else staying home, but job should be done, whether you are home or you are at your office. And we all need to collaborate together to survive this COVID.
Yeah, and I would say that most of the employers were really supportive and were kind of accepting. And it's not the employers, I think it's the government in general. The government set up this tool, and the government helped people to, put these limitations in working hours, put these limitations for remote working, and all these things that help people to manage. Even when the schools started virtual, the workplaces also asked people to work remotely. So it was a combination of all, and we're all thankful for this. Anyone else want to comment on this before we move to the second question?
I can comment as well.
I can see your face that you wanted to answer that question.
Yeah. So especially engineers, right? They're very logical, and when you're faced with a work problem, you're focused on that. And for some, family, I don't say is a second priority or forgotten, but it's like, look, we have this problem to solve, everybody on hands on deck and stuff. And it's like, oh, you've got a child? Yeah, I go and deal with my child. So what I say is like, look, you go ahead, I'll catch up with you later, and just remind them like, look, I've got a child, I need to go and do, and like when you remind them of those things and remind them like, look, I have to juggle stuff, they're more than happy to either move the meeting, postpone it. If they can't postpone it, I'd be like, look, no decision can be made, so I'll just catch up with you guys later, and keep me up to date what's happening. And it's always that balance between like, look, I do have, especially with COVID, it's really, 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 really tough. And kind of back to Dr. Dabia's comment, don't be scared to ask for help. I don't know how many times, and I think I might know the person who asked this question, that, I've been so grateful that a lot of friends have been willing to have play dates and take my daughter away. And, and in desperation, I'm like, look, I've got this important meeting, just please take her for a play date, kind of thing. And it has been tough, really, really tough.
Yeah. It's very difficult, very, very difficult for mothers with the young kids, especially with young kids.
I would like to also answer for this question, Dr. Hanan. I would like to share experience when I was pregnant. So the first pregnancy when I was in Indonesia, so I was scared, but I remember even until like 6 months pregnant, I'm still doing a mission out of town. So then when the company still support and still ask that whenever that I want to stop doing the mission, then it's up to me. So then I said yes, that I will. Then I will stop the mission and walk around the work during while the pregnancy, and after the delivery of the baby, coming back to the office was also quite supportive. So then after at that time it's 3 months away from work, and then adjusting back to work again, and don't be scared about that. And then it's also get the help from other colleagues, and similar one with the second pregnancy is also okay. So then being a mother and also being a woman engineer, it does not give us a drawback. we are forced to do work more efficiently and to put the priority, which one is the priority first and which come after. It doesn't mean that the family always come first, or it doesn't mean that always work come first. It's just like decision which one to be put first, and also to communicate with the family whether our work is now at a tight target and the tight deadline, so then they will understand and support the work that we need to be done, and vice versa. If the kids are sick, then of course that's the first #1 priority, to take care of them before the work.
Family always is important and it comes first. And I think that's something that we all get engaged in work, but then we realize it. And good employers support you when you look after your family. Okay, we came to the end of our webinar, but there is one question left. So I think maybe we can take a couple of minutes answering it. And it's again going around the same thing. And it's always the same question, I think, to women in general who are professional. So the question says, hello, ladies. Thank you for the insightful discussion and highlighting your experience. My question is, how have you ladies been able to balance being a mother and a professional? What have you had to sacrifice professionally or personally in trying to maintain both? And so this is to the mothers in this group, and we'd like to know about it. But Dabia, you are welcome to give us an insight on how you balance your family life and your social life with work life as well. And so I'll leave the floor to you ladies who wants to volunteer to answer this question.
I think women had, mothers for sure had a lot more challenges. So I commend you and I look up to you. You're absolute heroes.
Thank you, Dabia. One of the mothers.
I'm happy to share if you want.
Yes, please. Yeah.
Sacrifice. I wouldn't really call it a sacrifice because I get such joy out of my child. What I would say is that it was a lot easier not to sacrifice pre-COVID. Because pre-COVID, it was very clear. I would leave the house, drop my daughter off, get into work, and it was work time. And she was being, having fun at school. And then I'd come back home, and then it was switch off, focus on the child, right? And I made it very clear to people, unless it's an emergency, that's the only time you can call me. Don't expect responses to emails on weekends. Again, only an emergency. And if you need something on the weekend, you need to call. None of this email stuff. And so it's actually been more of a, I wouldn't say sacrifice, but it's the lines have disappeared with working from home. And it's been more difficult to switch off. And I feel I'm not giving the same focus to my child, but then at the same time, I think we're able to bond more because we're actually overall spending more time with each other. But she now knows work is work. She recognizes which is my work phone and which is my personal phone, and if she sees me on my work phone, she'll call me out. And so I would say it's, similar to Mari, with going on maternity leave, you always have a concern. Oh, what's going to happen to my career, blah, blah, blah. But super supportive before I left and when I came back. I was really concerned about it. And I didn't care what people told me about, don't worry, kind of thing. This won't impact your career. I was concerned. But, similar to Maddie, they proved me wrong. So yes, it's difficult to have that balance. And back to, I think, similar comments to earlier, it's actually a lot of our own internal concerns and our own internal kind of fears versus reality sometimes.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah. And again, it depends on employers. Some employers will use this as, something against you, and some others will be just it's normal and you're supposed to have that. And so any other comments?
I would like to add to this, Dr. Hanan. I think it's all about organization skills. You need to organize your time in the 24 hours a day to make sure that you will manage between being a mom or being someone in a very social, having very social life and your profession or your work. Currently, I'm finishing this session and my kid is somewhere with Paris Saint-Germain Academy doing his football exercise. Within 15 minutes after I leave, I'll join him to watch only. So I am participating in all his activities, and I even go and attend with him the birthday parties before COVID, once he's invited, and I go to his school. I do lots of things with my kid and with my own social, very active social life, because I organize my time. I even respond to emails during weekend, not all, of course, but I do have this time because I organize myself. And I also manage well my team and their effort. I do not do everything by myself, but I have a very strong team that work with me, and we hand over tasks, I think pretty good. And again, a very supportive environment that we have at work. And most importantly, I have a very supportive family. My mom and dad and my sisters, my brothers, all of them are very supportive to the work I do and of being an active woman. And I think it's very important.
Thank you very much, Dr. Al-Jazi. And that's, I think, the best way to end our webinar with. I think all the successful women had behind them a very supportive family or family members that helped them achieving where they are now. Thank you very much, ladies. It was really a pleasure to have you today and to celebrate the International Day for Women Engineers with you. I'm hoping next year we will celebrate this day together, face to face, hopefully, in a real seminar. I would like to thank Hamad bin Khalifa University College of Humanities and Social Sciences for the amazing job that they have done in organizing this event. They've even designed our logo. We've been trying very hard to find a designer, and they voluntarily did this to the association. There was a question in the Q&A was asking about the Qawiyya, the association, and I would like, I put down the email, Abir's email, and please email Abir if you want to be a member. We're welcoming members. We even have students members if you want to join as a student. And Sarah, you want to say something? I saw your hand kind of raised. No? No, okay. And thank you all for this day. Enjoy the rest of your day. Dr. Al-Jazi, I did not mention that you have CNAQ graduation ceremony later today. So you'll be busy all day today. And we really appreciate your time and that you came here. We appreciate also Dr. Dabia and Engineer Madi and Engineer Sarah's time. All of you, this is really amazing what you did, what you shared with us. I think we felt like connected in this discussion, and everybody just talked smoothly about their experience, which is what I was hoping for. Thank you all, and thank you to the attendees who stayed with us in this webinar, and we hope to see you again in another event. Have a good evening.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu.
Ma salam.